When you think of dominant FCS college football programs, what school comes to mind? James Madison? No. North Dakota State University. They've displayed of such a fine level of dominance amongst the FCS world that people are actually asking, why aren't they in the FBS? Why haven't they made that jump yet? Answer is simple: they don't want to. Okay, but the dominance that they've displayed was followed by a specific program that they went through. These specific steps that they went through. They took their time. They've only been the Division One for a few years, since 2004. They haven't been here that long, and yet they've displayed such a great level of dominance. And I'm gonna tell y'all how JSU can follow the same recipe to get where NDSU is, because from the first step they're already beating them this year. So we're gonna talk about that, and we're gonna talk about what else can be done for Deion Sanders to propel Jackson State and eventually the rest of HBCU football to national prominence. All right, there's a reason why North Dakota State has since 2004, since their jump from Division 2 to Division 1, have gone a total of 166 and 35. There's a reason for that, and it's called recruiting. It's a reason why they won 5 consecutive national championships at the FCS level from 2011 to 2015. There's a reason why they won another 3 straight from 2017 to 2019. Recruiting. All right. And they do it on a consistent basis. Okay. When you can go on 24/7 Sports Composite and you'll see the recruiting classes from since they started. Okay. It's always 3-star guys that top that class, with a total of maybe 9 or more FBS offers, some being from Power 5 schools. And they are getting these guys and they're bringing them in, and they're doing it on a yearly consistent basis. So therefore they're not only able to stockpile talent, they're able to develop that talent and as well. So now they have depth because they're doing this year after year after year, and the ones who've been there already, they're progressing, they're getting better, they're getting developed, and this is leading and this is translating to win. And some of the most notable 3-stars to headline their classes: Carson Wentz, Trey Lance. Those 2 names alone tells you how good they are at this recruiting stuff. Okay, now granted, they had a little bit of an easier time with Trey Lance, considering that Trey Lance was asked to play a different position by the FBS schools that did want him, so it was easier for North Dakota State to come in, reel him in, recognize his potential, and now, he was a number 3 pick overall to the 49ers in this year's NFL draft. But recruiting is what Jackson State can start off with by doing. Now, what exactly do they need to do recruiting-wise? We all know Deion has the number 1 class in the FBS history. In fact, his class is so legendary that not only did he compete with FCS schools and blew them out of the water in the rankings, he competed with 3 SEC schools at the FBS level. Okay, and he beat out 2 of them: USC, South Carolina, of course, and Vanderbilt, for the most 4-stars in the class. And he tied Arkansas with the most 4-stars in his first year. Keep in mind, this was COVID filled. He hasn't even gotten time to fully change the culture of Jackson State, and just his name alone, just his swagger alone was able to get him the number 1 class in the country. Okay, and by the way, the next class after him, the next FCS class that's even close to Jackson State, is Northern Arizona at 128. 128. He's 85th nationally, and the next closest school is 128th. If he can do this on a consistent basis, if Deion, that's the game changer. The 4-stars, not as well as the 3-stars, but the 4-stars are the game changer as well. If he can continue to do this on a yearly basis, he is gonna be sitting real pretty by the time his time is done at Jackson State. They might even build a statue for him. I know we getting a little too far ahead. I'm not guaranteeing any of this, but this is just what could happen. The fact of the matter is, and this doesn't even count his transfers. He has 14 transfers uh, from other schools, 9 of them being from FBS schools and Power 5 schools. So he's bringing all these guys in. He's bringing all this talent in. A lot who contribute right away, a lot who needs time to develop. And by the time they develop, like North Dakota State has been doing with their 3-star guys, by the time they develop, they are going to come in and they are going to dominate. You have these 3-star guys that have had multiple SEC school offers, like Trevante Rucker, for example, or Ala Brown. If North Dakota State can win 5 national championships in a row from 2011 to 2015, and then another 3 in a row from 2017 to 2019 with 3-star guys, imagine what Deion can do with 3 and 4-star guys. Just imagine what he can do with talent that's coming from SEC schools, because that's a luxury that North Dakota State does not have. And that's no knock against them. It's just that they're just not doing it. They're doing very well, obviously. They are the model. They are the standard for FCS programs, okay? But they don't have that luxury. That's an advantage that Deion has against every other FCS school. He can go and get these guys because of who he is, because he's a Hall of Famer, because he's a great recruiter, because when he talks to you, you believe everything that he's saying because he has the gift of gab, and he uses that to his advantage. If he can do this on a yearly basis, if he can stockpile talent on a yearly basis and have them understand, some of you guys may not start right away, but by the time that you're going to get on the field, you are going to dominate. Not only that, but we're going to get you drafted. We're going to get you on ESPN. We're going to get you all this shine. Oh, and by the way, being that we're in HBCU school, you don't have to worry about dealing with fans in the stands putting a noose on what depicts to be a football player. Okay, you don't have to deal with racist fans. You don't have to deal with a coach telling you, no, you can't say anything about social injustices of your own people. You're at an HBCU. You can be who you are. You're safe here. This is a safe place. You're home now, and we're family. Those 2 elements is going to do wonders for him on the recruiting trail. When he comes into that recruit's house and he sits down, and your father and your mom are just as starstruck as you are because he grew up watching Deion and idolizing Deion, what is that going to do for you? That's going to automatically make you think, I really need to come here. I need to be a part of this. I'm not saying it's going to be easy for him. You know, we all know this isn't no easy task. Recruiting, your luck can change year by year, but something tells me Deion is going to keep this up, and that is the first and one of the most important steps to propelling Jackson State to prominence, to a national powerhouse, the recruiting trail. He keeps this up for another 4 years. There's no looking back for Jackson State. They won't have to worry about going back to what they used to be. This is going to be a whole new level. So Jackson State fans need to get ready for that. Y'all need to believe, because it's here. Just like y'all saying goes, I believe. You need to believe. Now, what's the next step? Facilities. Okay? Deion is doing a great job getting these guys now, but at some point in time, facilities are what gets the blue chip recruits to your school. This isn't like the olden days. These kids want these nice things. Okay, you can go on Twitter and you can see LSU's new locker room with the sleeping pods, or you can see Oregon's facility. You can see Alabama's facility. If you want to take it to the FCS level, you could even see FAMU's newly renovated facility that they're still working on as well. That's important, and we all know Jackson State right now, they're in a position where their facilities really aren't the best. I mean, they have been calling for a new stadium a few years ago. I don't know where they are with that now, but it seems like they're having a bit of a hard time trying to get it. I do think they will in the near future, but right now it just seems like a difficult process. Now, even with all those struggles that Jackson State has trying to get facilities, that's going to change because in the first 9 days of Deion being a head coach at Jackson State, the marketing value of JSU has risen $9 million. $9 million in his first 9 days. That is unheard of. And so far, in just in marketing revenue and exposure, it's estimated that he generated about 185 million. JSU will be getting new facilities at this point. It's just a matter of when. They're going to be getting a new stadium because Deion wants that the most. He wants a new turf. He wants a new practice facility. Rightfully so, because, if he's going to get these guys, if he's going to get these recruits, and if he's going to convince these blue chip guys to leave the FBS and come here, he's going to have facilities that are up to par. And right now, their stadium, even though it still looks good on the inside, on the outside, it just doesn't do it. They need something new. It's time for that, You want to play with the big boys, so you got to get the big boy stuff. You got to do what they do. Plus he also wants to compete with FBS schools. You already have Louisiana Monroe in the schedule. He only wants to go higher and higher in competition. He wants to play the best because in order to be the best, you have to play and beat the best. So he's going to need that facilities to get the recruits in so that he can develop them, and he can do that. All right. As a matter of fact, he's been already making plans a while back on the turf that he wants and what he's going to do with the stadium. Take a look.
Oh, that ain't what it's going to look like.
So
what we already got. Oh, that's the mess we already got.
He said existing conditions on this one.
Yep.
Okay.
This is before. This is after. Okay, this is the problem.
That's the problem.
I want this to go away. I don't want to do this. We need to raise money so the track could go elsewhere. So the track athletes could have their own area, their own brand new track and all of that. And we just take this and make this grass and make an adjacent practice field and bring in bleachers for special guests to come in and watch practice. That's the vision. This is the game stadium.
Yeah, this is the existing one.
This is the new stadium. Now, I don't want that. The reason I don't want this, because it's a wonderful thing, but we want a new stadium. We don't want to just want new turf. We want a whole new stadium. So that's what we're working on. New stadium, not new turf. I love that, but I wouldn't waste that money when we want all of this new.
Now, it goes without saying that a school like North Dakota State arguably has one of the best stadiums in college football today. Not just the FCS, FBS as well. I'm not saying it's better than the majority of FBS schools, but it's up there. And the reason being is because it was voted one of the most loudest places to play in the country. The stadium is electric. Their dome, the way the bleachers surround the field is crazy, and they always sell out games. So even though it only packs 19,000 people, it feels like that much more. They have the big screen, okay? They have nice turf. The Fargo Dome is a very exciting place to play. It is a very pretty stadium on the inside. So if Jackson State can get them a dome, because there were talks about them getting a dome when the stadium talks was at its peak, when the new stadium talk for Jackson State was at its peak, but we don't know how that's going to go still. We know it's going to happen. It's going to happen because they do need a new stadium, but we just don't know when. If they can get something even similar to that, that is going to create waves for Deion Sanders. That is another load off of him. When it comes to recruiting, you don't have to convince him to overlook Bryant-Denny Stadium or Autzen Stadium, because a new veteran memorial stadium will be more than enough for these kids to feel comfortable coming here. Now, the next step, once you have these recruits, once you've developed them, now it's time to actually play. Now you got to schedule these FBS schools, and you got to get some upsets going. So that way you can generate more TV prominence. That way you can generate more revenue on the TV front. You can get the college game days to come down here. Because one thing for sure, it is not impossible for college game day to make their way to Jackson State. They've already done it with North Dakota State twice this past decade. Twice. It is not impossible for someone with Deion's caliber, okay, to have college game day come down here. In my opinion, it would have been a good idea to see them versus Alabama A&M or Alcorn State. That's just me, okay? But it's in the future moving forward, it is not hard to get college game day to come down here, because every week at the FBS level is not going to be a premier week for matchups. So when it's a slow week at the FBS level, they can definitely make their way down here. Now, of course, that's still a few years away, at my opinion, maybe 2 at the most, but it can definitely happen. Now, North Dakota State, right? Because again, we're taking a page from their book. North Dakota State has upset Minnesota. They've upset Kansas. They've upset Colorado State. They've upset a 9-win Kansas State team in 2013. They've upset Iowa State in 2014 and the number 11th ranked team in the country in 2016 in Iowa. Can Jackson State do that? Yes, they can. Those kind of games are years out. I don't think they can do it right now. You need more than one recruiting class. You need time to develop these guys. You need time to really build up depth on your roster, because right now y'all are top heavy. We don't know how the depth looks, okay? And the depth that you do have is very talented freshmen, but they still need to be developed. So yeah, y'all are a few years away from that, but you can start gradually by beating a ULM, by beating a Sun Belt school, because to me that's possible, right? So you start there and you keep going on the recruiting front and you keep going on the developmental front, and sooner or later, in about 4 years, maybe 3 years, you could beat a ranked team. You could beat an FBS ranked team, and that is gonna propel you into more TV time, because people are gonna want to see you if you have a reputation for beating these schools. Now that comes with more benefits than you might think, okay? Just recently, Jackson State has lost a prime receiver in Dalen Baldwin to Michigan, for the simple reason that Dalen Baldwin wants the best shot at exposure for the NFL. Well, if you are competing with these schools and you're beating these FBS programs who are presumed to be bigger than you, you can keep these guys here. In the future, you can keep a Dalen Baldwin here. The reason being is because now that you're on TV, you have the exposure, so you don't have to go to a bigger school to get that done. Y'all can stay here because we have primetime games against our opponents, our HBCU schools on ESPN, as well as FBS opponents on ESPN as well. Y'all stay here. You don't have to go there anymore. That's a done deal. You're gonna get your shot at the NFL. So that's another big benefit that comes with pulling off these upsets that I still think, he's a couple of years away from, but it can be done. And last but not least, he just has to continue doing what he's doing. A lot of y'all don't like the fact that Deion posts the way he does, or that he says certain things, or that he acts the way he does. He is primetime. There's a reason why he created that persona in college. It has worked for him. That will generate attention. That will generate money. Again, y'all have to remember that we are on the same goal. It's okay to talk trash. It's okay to have a rivalry going with each other in the HBCU community, but y'all have to remember that it's not really that deep for y'all to hate this man, have hate towards this man, because what he is doing, the so-called antics that y'all don't like, is what is going to help bring HBCU football to prominence. Y'all need to get on board with that. Y'all have to get on board with that. It is important. If y'all are serious about bringing HBCU football to the forefront, we have to stop thinking small as a community. We have to stop thinking that this can't happen for us, or we can't reach a certain level of prominence, college game day will never come here, or we'll never have that much players drafted, and this and that. And we have to get out of that mindset. We have to get out of that mindset. If we think big, we'll be big. All right, that's just my opinion. But if you continue to think small, we're always gonna be where this at. Even if, when shooting for the sky, even if you don't get there, you'll end up somewhere way higher than you would have been had you not attempted to do so. We need to be on the same board as that, because personally I think that it is way past due for HBCU to be at the forefront and for us to be celebrated as the great league that we are. Okay, we provide so much flavor, we provide so much swag to college football, and it's time that we get noticed for it. Because I'm tired of seeing us on national. The only time we're on national TV is when we're being beat up by an FCS school for some money. Okay, I'm tired of seeing that. I don't want to see South Carolina getting 70 put on them by Clemson anymore. All right, I don't want to see Southern getting their behinds handed to them by Georgia for some money anymore. That has to. At some point, we have to get tired of that. We have to get tired of that, and we have to do something about it. Deion is doing something about it. Eddie George is doing something about it. Shout out to Tennessee State. All right. Ray Lewis and Ed Reed want to do something about it. They have interest in that. Potentially Chad Johnson. Who knows? The way Terrell Owens enjoyed himself at the camp, maybe he'll be another one who wants to try and get things going with a school. We have to be on the same page with this, and we have to embrace it. It's time for a change, because the old way hasn't been working. So even though you might not feel receptive at first to this new thing that Deion is trying to do, give it a chance. Stick with it. You never know what could happen. All right, but thank y'all for watching the video, man. If you made it to the end, again, this is Collegiate Football Legion. I appreciate y'all greatly. New videos coming every other day. You know, I do work 12-hour shifts, so just like today, I just got off from a night shift and I made this video because I enjoy doing it, of course. But you know, I don't really have a specific timing for when I make videos, but I try to keep it fresh, you know, every couple of days or whatever. Or unless some just big news just happens, then I have to report on it and have to let y'all know. But, you know, anyways, thank y'all for watching again, man. Peace.